I call Tracy Martin.
Chair, thank you very much. I rise on behalf of New Zealand First to take a call on the Objectionable Publications and Indecency legislation bill. And I note, and the Minister who is currently in the chair, I note that in the second reading speech, the Minister said a 2009 study estimated that internationally 200 new images depicting sexual abuse of children were put into circulation every day. There is also evidence that the content of the publications is getting worse and that the children are getting younger. Law enforcement agencies have indicated that those who reoffend in this area tend to do so with a high level of premeditation and go to great lengths to avoid detection. And New Zealand First will be supporting this bill. New Zealand First will be supporting this bill because something needs to be done. My colleague Dennis O'Rourke has previously spoken on this bill and has articulated his concerns that the bill does not go far enough, and I repeat them here today. However, we feel that at least it goes somewhere. And so we agree that there is a very strong need for a deterrent to those who exploit our children in this way. We'd like to pick up on David Clendon's contribution and one particular point he made in it, which is around the length of incarceration and whether that is a deterrent in its own right. And we would agree with him, it is not a deterrent in his own right. However, I note that my colleague in his contribution to the second reading said that what we know for sure is that a shorter incarceration is definitely not a deterrent. Nothing about this should be about imprisonment in its own right. Nothing about locking a person up, just that fixes anything. So we would agree with the Green Party members' contribution that there needs to be care and counselling and services providing for those who are imprisoned. But we do welcome the provision that increases the incarceration ability for these offences. We are disappointed, however, that Clause 4, for example, while it increases the penalty for supply and distribution of an objectionable material from 10 to 14 years, doesn't go as far as we would like. It is the distribution, it is those that provide the service, I suppose, if we want to talk about a supply and demand situation. If nobody's supplying it, then demand has got to drop off. So we would like to see those that are supplying it to be punished at higher levels than are currently inside this bill. However, as I have said, we will support this bill because at least it goes somewhere toward making this amends. And we also, I believe my colleague Dennis O'Rourke in his contribution at second reading argued that there needed to be or should have been a special provision where the offence was against children under the age of 16. He was not convinced by the officials' arguments that this should not be included. So we continue to suggest that if the offence is committed against children under the age of 16, it should be an aggravating factor when it comes to sentencing. Also inside this bill, we look at Clause 13. The bill creates a new Crimes Act offence of indecent communications with a young person, and that means anyone under the age of 16. The new offence applies where persons charged communicates indecently with a police constable.
The member seems to be straying into a part that's not currently under debate. Can we go back to part 1, please?
I beg your pardon. I'll address that later on. At this time then, with regard to the contributions there, we talk about, I believe Clause 4 is appropriately in Part 1, which is helpful for me. So if we actually talk about Clause 4, again, we have concerns around this clause and would have liked to have seen that increased, but at this stage we accept that those penalties are what they are. So taking aboard all those and obviously going to make a contribution later on in the piece, Mr Chair, again I reiterate New Zealand First will support because it does something, but we would have liked to have seen it do more. Kia ora.
I call Alfred Ngaro.
Thank you, Mr Chair. It's an honour to take a call this evening on the Objectionable Publications and Indecency legislation.